Good morning, everyone. My name is Rocky Lucas. I work for Washington State at the Counseling and Wellness Center for the College of Veterinary Medicine, and I am going to be presenting this morning on occupational wellness. So give me just 1 minute to get my screen up here. All right, so this is the fourth time I presented this summer on the various dimensions of wellness, in which there are 9. So if you've been able to tune into all of these, you have caught almost half of them. This will be the 4th one I'm doing. Occupational wellness, the professionally well person engages in work to gain personal satisfaction and enrichment consistent with values, goals, and lifestyle. Now, I picked this one very intentionally. I think that the reason why Daily Coup Connect was, created earlier this spring was so that we can maintain our occupational wellness. I think there was that understanding that, a lot of us were going to be working from home. A lot of us were going to be disrupted from the work routines that we had come to enjoy, the people that we were spending time with each day that we'd come to enjoy. And this was a way to kind of bring us together and help us stay connected during this pandemic. And so, in a sense, this Daily Coup Connect represents what Washington State's trying to do for occupational wellness. So they're on target there. So what I've done the last few times I've presented is go over each of the 9 dimensions of wellness before I got started. I'm going to change it up a little bit today. This slide has the 9 dimensions of wellness that I have taught on during this presentation series over the summer. And so you can read those there. If you are interested, I have included the link to our Counseling and Wellness webpage, which has recorded videos of all of these that I've done over the spring and summer. So there's 9 separate videos for each dimension of wellness. If you find this one interesting today, you can go check out the others. And in addition, if you go to our just Counseling and Wellness website overall, there's additional forms and websites and just information to kind of help you stay abreast of what is new and what is important in all of these areas. So I'm going to focus occupational wellness on a couple of areas. The first one being our relationships at work, because even if you have great relationships with your friends and family, even if you're getting good sleep at night, your work is probably taking up 1/3 or even more of your life. A lot of times, depending on the career that you're in, you spend more time at work with those people than you do at home with your own friends and family. So if you are not occupationally well, it's hard to have a holistic, well life because it just takes up so much of it. So here are some questions to ask yourself. Do you find your current work or your future career goals to be engaging and inspiring? So ideally, that will be both. Ideally, you will be working in a job which you feel that is engaging you mentally, spiritually, that is inspiring to you. Or if you're not in a job that encompasses all of that, hopefully you have future career goals that will get you there. When I was 16, my mom forced me against my will to get a job at McDonald's, and I loved it. I don't know if I'll ever have as much fun as I did working the drive-thru at McDonald's when I was 16. That was not my life goal. I did not want to work there for a long time, but as a teenager, that met exactly where I wanted to be. I talk to vet students all the time who are like, I work for this person as a vet tech. It's kind of annoying work. I don't like him, but I'm getting really great experience, and it's really, it helped me get into vet school, and I'm just a couple, years away from graduation. So you don't even necessarily have to like the job that you're in, so long as it is helping you reach those goals. How is your relationship with your coworkers, with your supervisors? Describe the quality of your communication with them. So ultimately, this will probably determine in a lot of ways how we feel about our jobs. If we have really good relationships with our coworkers, if we have really good communication and feel respected by and respect our supervisors, we're probably going to really like that job, even if the job itself is blah. And so this is a really important question to ask yourself. If you are in a job where your relationship with your coworkers is really poor, you don't like them, there's a lot of conflict, you and your supervisor don't get along, or you're maybe not even getting supervised, it's time to check and see, okay, is there anything that I can do to, fix this? Is this a situation that I need to try to start to pull away from? So once again, this is not a time to ask yourself what I need to do about this right now. It's just a time to take measurement of how you're doing in these areas and start to make those considerations. Does your current work or future career allow for growth both personally and professionally? And so this is another one that's very important. I've talked to several vet students and actually some veterinarians here in the last few months in my work. And something that's very important to them is not feeling like they're getting pigeonholed in one area. So a lot of times people will find satisfaction in a career, but then maybe something goes differently in their life, something goes differently at work, and they want to find a way to expand out of that. And so this has been a really important time to think about that. If you haven't been thinking now, all right, is my job safe during this pandemic? Is my job that I had before and the direction that I was going still something that's realistic given all the changes? And if so, how can you maintain that journey? And if you've been derailed a little bit, how can you utilize this as an opportunity to say, okay, I need to learn a new skill. This is something I'm really good at that I've not really had a chance to utilize yet. Are you remaining mindful of the moment and how you feel now? And that is particularly important because what we want to avoid is the one day I will be happy in this thinking. And so I believe that there's a lot of people that are impacted by that way of thinking. And while there is certainly importance in being able to see the light at the end of the tunnel and work towards that light at the end of the tunnel, if you are unhappy right now, and if you cannot find a way to achieve joy in your work or in the path that's taking you to the career that you want, you're probably going to have a hard time experiencing and living that joy when you get there. So it's okay to say, all right, this is my goal and I'm a few years away from it, but what can you do to enjoy every step of the journey there? Early on during this pandemic, there were a lot of students that I talked to that were like, I just know I got another year of suffering, but I can get through that. I can get through this. And I was like, let's change that perspective a little bit. Yeah, I'm sure you can. You're strong. You can really just have a brutal next year and still be successful. But there's, how can we enjoy now? How can we make that journey really relaxing so that by the time that you get there, you'll enjoy it that much more? Have you identified a professional mentor? And are you utilizing all the resources available to you for career guidance? And so I think that is something that we are particularly blessed in this area to be working at a university. And working at a major university, we have access to a lot of faculty. We have access to a lot of well-educated staff. We have access to a lot of departments who can assist you, even as employees, with just getting guidance or assisting you in whatever your goals may be. And so a lot of times we grow into a comfort zone, and pandemics and such often just derail us from those comfort zones. And so let's turn this into a growth zone by saying, okay, now that I'm uncertain, who can I go to ask for help? What next step can I take? All right, so the second aspect that I want to focus on for occupational wellness is finding the right balance. And so people talk about work-life balance a lot, but it's really hard to necessarily define because it means different things to different people. Work-life balance doesn't mean 50-50. It means whatever it means to you. So have you identified what work-life balance means to you? And do your current and long-term career goals match this? And so if you're currently, working in a job where, this job is, basically your whole life, maybe you're falling into being a workaholic, and what you would like is to have a job that allows you to spend a lot of quality time with friends and family, then, all right, we need to find a way to strategize around that. Conversely, you might be someone that's like, you know what? I don't need a whole lot of work-life balance right now. I'm young, I'm energetic. I just want to put my nose to the grindstone for a few more months, and then one day I'll get to that balance stuff. That's okay too. It's just knowing what is right for you. To achieve work-life balance, you have to really ask yourself those questions and lay out, what does that mean to you at this point in your life now? And then once you know that, you can modify perhaps the work that you do, to get to that point. Think about the other 8 areas of wellness we've discussed. Obviously, if you've been here with me for some of these, we've only discussed 4 of them now, but just considering everything from those first slides, how they play into your occupational wellness. And so for me, I'll tell you, when I first started working from home, March 12th, I was very frustrated, new to the state of Washington, new to Washington State. And I thought, oh my gosh, moving across the country and working out of my house. But I've become to appreciate some of the ways in which that has helped me. I used to not be able to work out till 5:30 in the evening after I got off work. Now I can work out in the mornings. I can work out on my lunch break. I've been able to utilize this flexibility to help improve aspects of the other areas of my life. And so while it'll still be my preference to be in an office most of the time anyway, I can appreciate the other good that's come in the other aspects of wellness in my life. And that leads into the next one. Are you grateful for the current positives in your work life? Do you take time to acknowledge your accomplishments? And so that one is very important. If we're here today on this call, then we are very fortunate in that we still, have employment. We're not one of the millions of Americans that has been affected by unemployment. Even if we're on this call today, though, with our job still, there's probably a whole lot of people that we know, friends and family, who have been directly, financially, or personally with illness impacted by this pandemic. And so to be able to take the positives and say, yes, we're still connected to Washington State. Yes, we're still connected to each other is really important. And, when I first started working from home, I thought, gosh, I was getting really, really productive there at the office, and I wanted to show myself as a super productive employee. It's not the same now. However, I can acknowledge, hey, I've been become really good at presentations. Hey, I've become really good at, putting together PowerPoints, all those things that I never really did before. And so I can take time to pat myself on the back and say, I've done a pretty good job considering the circumstances. And then the final question to ask yourself, does your current work and/or future career match your personality, values, and overall life goals? And I challenge any of you, because I've asked this question before over my years as a counselor, and oftentimes if someone is in their teens or 20s, it's like, yeah, that's a good question to ask myself. Let me figure that out. This isn't just a question for the young people. If you're someone who is older, if you're someone who is even nearing retirement, it is never too late to say, is what I'm doing match what I want to do? Is what I'm doing match who I want to be? So if you are an undergrad, if you're an early career professional, if you've been at this for 30 years, if you're almost or even post-retirement, this is still questions that you need to ask yourself, because occupational wellness is going to impact your life for the entirety of your life. So I usually leave this open for questions or comments from participants. You are certainly still allowed to ask me any questions you may have, but I want to thank all of you guys for coming out today and hearing what will probably be my final presentation of Daily Coup Connect this summer. But please do head on over to our website to check out all of our wellness information, and be sure to check in again tomorrow for our next Daily Coup Connect and to get your smart health points so that your insurance will be a little bit cheaper next year.